Hey, Gaybros.
Hey, Gaybros.
Where are we today?
Today we're together, physically, in a bar in San Francisco. A dive bar in San Francisco.
Is this a dive bar?
Yes.
Well, no, but you have like Tom of Finland cutouts, like around doesn't qualify.
But they're cheap, worn cutouts. I don't know.
I mean,
Listeners, let us know. Is the Evil SF a dive bar?
Yeah, maybe they should actually write us back, just like trying to clarify what a dive bar is.
Is it in the dive bar book?
No, it's not.
It's not a dive bar.
Well,
It's
I
a
mean,
historically protected BDSM leather bar.
but not as a dive bar.
No, yeah.
So maybe that's it. But yeah, no. So we're actually after like a long while without recording, like being fairly busy on my side, is that we are like finally getting to record and face to face.
Thank you for implying I am not busy, as I am unemployed.
Well, you could have been busy, with many other things, but in this case, it's like I was over the top busy during this week.
You were busier, even if I had a job.
Yeah. Because like when we usually record, I also have a job. So having a job is not a deterrent from recording most of the time.
Yes.
Right? So, what did we watch to actually celebrate this happy event?
So it's been a long time since we recorded last. So in our last session, we watched All About Eve. And I cannot... Oh, well, okay. I remember I picked Perfect Sense, the 2011 sci-fi romance...
Sci-fi?
Yes, it's the type of sci-fi where you're in the near future and everything is the same except one crucial difference.
Okay, sure, yeah.
I also wouldn't have called it sci-fi, but whenever I look it up, you see, look, we're on IMDb, drama, romance, sci-fi.
Yeah. And IMDb knows what it's doing. Yeah. So what did you pick this thing?
I picked this because we have an ongoing conversation about melodrama. We both love 6 Feet Under.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know was a soap opera until you told me it was.
Sorry that I popped your bubble.
Yeah, no, I thought it was super deep. It's not. Occasionally it's deep.
Well, wait a second. It's like being a melodrama doesn't imply that you cannot be deep.
That's true. But it implies some shallow moments for sure.
Of course. Okay. Pretty heavy-handed moments.
Heavy-handed. That's a better...
Yeah.
So you have shown me a number of Spanish melodramas that I didn't really respond to, but I am in a marriage with a Latino, and you're in a relationship with a Latino, and they both responded the same way you did, so we were starting to wonder, is there a cultural difference? And I realized I love melodrama, but like...
Yeah, but quality melodrama... Well, not like quality. No, but you like All About My Mother quite a bit, and that's a melodrama. A heavy melodrama.
Yeah, that's true, but it's like, I can never say the name right, Quien Te Cantará?
Quien Te Cantará, you didn't like it.
I didn't respond to it at all.
Yep.
And I kind of judged you for liking it until I was like, wait, Blake, you own Perfect Sense on Blu-ray.
Boy, oh boy, heavy-handed. You could just give that.
So, this was my pick. I do own it on Blu-ray. I've seen it.
Why do you own it in Blu-ray?
Because I wanted to see if you can relate to my melodrama.
No. That's why you pick it. But it's like, why do you own it in Blu-ray?
Because, do you remember how you sobbed like a tiny little baby when you saw Wit?
Gosh.
This is how I cry at the end of Perfect Sense. I sob like a baby.
The audience are not going to be seeing this, but I'm silently, without looking at my Gaybros, judging him right now.
It's fine. I was disgusted with myself when I rewatched this because I was like, this is not good, and then I would cry.
Okay, you will cry again, but for a different reason. Okay, that's fair. So, should I summarize it?
Yes, please.
So, the story takes place in London, like in present day. It's true that
Glasgow, but sure, they're
Glasgow?
all the same to you.
Okay, yeah, they speak English with a weird accent, with a sophisticated accent. And the story follows Ewan McGregor, that is a chef in a restaurant, and a woman that is an epidemiologist. Susan? Yeah, I don't remember the name, so thank you so much. So Susan is an epidemiologist that actually lives next to the kitchen where Ewan McGregor works. One day, they actually have, in the hospital, a patient that has lost this sense of taste.
Susan is an epidemiologist which is important.
Yeah. So it's like she gets called about like, hey, this guy just lost the sense of taste. He had like a bit of a, I don't know, sadness attack and
Smell.
Oh, it was a smell first.
Smell first, then taste.
Oh yeah, okay. So he lost like the sense of his smell after like an attack of sadness, and then suddenly everyone is going through the same. Like the whole humanity across the whole planet is going through the same. And basically, this may be sorry, I may be like just already like crossing a bit my opinion, but this may be like the lamest, most useless epidemiologist that I've seen in my life in any movie.
The lamest epidemiologist?
Yep, that I've seen in my life. From the perspective that is like one thing that they say is that, well, hopefully we'll pass.
Okay. You want me to respond? Because you're wrong.
Sure, whatever. So, like, the movie starts like just connecting both of them, how first like connect over a cigarette, and how they start like talking, and how they start like going through these processes, because we're going to be like repeating the same thing. I'm going to summarize a lot. They're going to be like repeating the same process of something, some kind of anemic feeling, you know, first like an attack of hunger, attack of something, and then just losing a sense. And how these two characters, that they are like partially broken, how the epidemiologist things that will never find like true love, and then the Ewan McGregor, there is a bit of a jerk that he doesn't want to settle down, so he's like just fooling around, but not settling.
Well, they provide him a handy little backstory at the end that explains his
Yeah, at the
reluctance to commit.
At the end. But it's something that it almost feels like someone read the script and they to add something here. Add something, because it's like, at least he has like the daddy issues. I had a feeling that she was like really attached to her father, from the perspective that everything that is about like developing the character is a bit more like my sister has kids, or I really like my father and my father is dead, you know. So at the end we actually discovered, after they lose like multiple senses, that Ewan McGregor used to have a girlfriend, and the girlfriend died when they were going to get married. No,
She became terminally ill,
and then he actually abandoned her like before she died, and now she feels guilty and she goes like to the grave like from time to
which
time.
I'm sorry is a totally legitimate life choice.
Yeah.
It seems heartless, but come on. You don't marry the girl that's dying. This isn't The Notebook. I haven't seen The Notebook, but there's a walk to remember.
Yeah.
This isn't a walk to remember.
So they keep losing like first smell, then taste, then what is it, like hearing, after like an attack of anger, and then view. The view is like, it's like the end, and it's that they only have like touch. So the movie, before each one of these transitions, we can say that there are like 4 acts. Is that they have like a very moving Max Richter score pieces.
Very good score.
Yeah, I mean the score is amazing, but it's like, the thing is, they have like pieces that they're like super heavy-handed about like humanity, and the world is such a perfect place, such wonderful, and we don't realize about what we have until we lose it.
Because there's a voice of God, a female narrator that gives pseudo-biblical observations of the world, like there are men, there are women, and there are food.
It's honestly okay. I'm not going to be like give my opinion yet, but yeah, that's like basically the format.
I feel like you.
I'm already like just like it's, you know, like just sliding it under the table along the way. So basically, every single time that they're going to be losing a sense is that first there is a scene about this. Then it describes like what is the emotion that they're going to be like suffering, and what is the sense that they're going to be losing, and then we see like how the world goes through it. Then we see like how the characters go through it, and how they adapt to the losing the sense, and how they go like through different stages on their relationship, how they split apart, but then they actually like connect together. And spoiler alert, at the end is like they have like this super moving, super emotionally manipulative like in the scene when they are like connecting, how they are losing the sense of sight, and it's like but they can still feel each other breath and each other warm, but they actually like just collapse in each other's embrace.
I don't disagree, and I want to add that we don't understand the emotional outburst that's going to occur before people lose their sight, whereas we witness all the other loss of senses. until this very moment when everyone is filled with such a sense of love and wanting to connect. So we don't even know if them wanting to reconnect was authentic at all.
That was like the part of the film is like, okay, so are you telling me that they didn't truly feel any of these? You know, it's like maybe from the beginning of the movie and it was a bit more of a circumstantial that is like this epidemic was like just driving the relationship, or what do you want me to take from this? That is a love that endures, or is a love that is forced?
So I will say
because they go like, you know, sorry, just to interrupt, but it's like there is a point that is that Ewan McGregor has never been like vulnerable in front of someone else, and like he's forced to be vulnerable because the first stage of this pandemic is about like making you like cry and connect with grief about like something that has happened in your life.
So I will say that I don't disagree with anything you've said, but it didn't bother me. I like this melodrama. I will say that much of the love story between Susan and what was his name?
I don't remember. Ewan McGregor.
I think his name may have been Ewan. Anyway, Ewan McGregor and Eva Green. Their relationship feels very forced, very unrealistic in certain moments. There's a scene where they're vulnerable with each other. She gives information about herself that she, is very sensitive about, not being able to have kids. They know that part of the disease is having an anger outburst, and he says these horrible things about her being infertile. But as an epidemiologist, can't you be like, oh, that was the disease?
Yeah, no,
and
she
he
goes
made
like a
very
completely,
sincere, hey, whatever I said to you, I don't remember, because it was the disease, I love you, come home.
Yep.
That being said, I think there are genuine moments of brilliance. I think this film doesn't know what it wants to be.
I think that it's amazingly shot, and aesthetically it's really, really good. I was impressed.
Stunning. Some of the images.
Yeah. Some of the images, like, dude, they said this, they know what is the visual language that they're going to be using, but also at the same time I feel like pretty pissed about like how manipulative to my face it was.
But isn't that melodrama? Is the manipulation of emotions? That's
but that's
how
like
I
way
would define
beyond.
it.
Like way beyond that. I felt like this like showing my face. Like all of those videos, like with the people around the world and that narration, it pissed me off. Beyond belief.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I will say that
It felt cheap.
there are moments that feel cheap about this, but there are moments that feel very authentic. And I think the problem with this film is that it doesn't know what it wants to be. It doesn't know what it's trying to say. It's like Inland Empire, in that they're like, hey, let's throw a bunch of interesting ideas together and try and make it like a coherent narrative. And you're like, oh wait, it doesn't make sense that an epidemiologist wouldn't believe a disease.
Yeah. I mean, as an epidemiologist, it's like I believe her as much as an epidemiologist as a bartender. She could have been like a bartender that was passing by the hospital.
But in defense of her, well, in defense of the film not exploring in a scientific way the disease, I think that that's a very smart move. They didn't try and explain the disease away. They didn't try and... It wasn't like Contagion being like, well, we've got the World Health Organization on this.
But that's the part where I had like a bit of a hard time saying that this is sci-fi. Because there is absolutely no intent or no effort of trying to make this science adjacent. Either.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it sci-fi either. It's just everywhere online.
Yeah. For me, it's a bit more that we're using like this epidemic as a way of forcing like stages of a relationship.
Yes, and I will say that the fact that we went through an actual pandemic the last 3.5 years, it really colored this film in a different way that felt very real and uncomfortable for me. So, one of the themes of the film, according to my interpretation as well as the director's, was to show that in the event where civilization is breaking down, hope and love will still triumph. And so there are some very touching scenes in the film where Ewan McGregor works in a restaurant, but everyone loses their sense of taste.
Yeah.
So they figure out how to adapt, and
I like that part. I like the part about like, hey, we're moving towards textures.
But tell me we didn't watch that happen on the streets of San Francisco during COVID. It was like, oh, we can eat it outside again. Oh, we can eat inside. Oh, this bar is serving food because they can't serve alcohol.
Yes and no. I mean, the thing is, like, I would expect. I feel like. And it's true that we just went through a pandemic, and this is like the hard part of just like trying to split away from what is the reality of a pandemic and what is like portrayed in there, but it's like the part about like, hey, there's a pandemic like starting. It's like clearly there's a pandemic. There are like many cases happening, and it's like, well, I guess that we will pass. It's like that felt like lame beyond belief. It's like for me, it's like, dude, it's like if this is actually something that is happening generally, is that you are going to be like the World Health Organization is going to be like doing something about this. It's not about like just like a leitmotif for actually just moving the story forward.
I don't disagree with you, and now let's take a step back from Perfect Sense and talk about this discussion about melodrama. Because there are things that make absolutely no sense in Quien Te Cantará, but it resonates with you. And this film really resonates with me, and that's interesting. What is that about? Is it just a cultural thing?
No, it's Max Richter.
Is it?
Yes, it's Max Richter. Come on, you fucking have a tattoo on Max Richter. You are going to be like willing to look the other way around because you see like the aesthetic aspects of it.
But don't disagree with me that I like very sad upper middle class people.
Yeah, but these are not like upper. Well, I mean, the chef, I was like a bit like mind blown. For the whole movie, I thought that it was in London. I was thinking like, holy shit, is this chef? This chef can actually afford that apartment in the middle of London?
Well, now that you know that it was Scotland.
Yeah, no, you told me that it's Scotland. It's like, well, yeah, sure, whatever. No, is it Scotland or Wales?
Isn't Glasgow Scotland? I'm going to be super embarrassed about my lack of knowledge of that area.
Let's just leave it there.
Yeah,
let's just park it. Let's just park it. Yeah, it's in UK. It's
Yeah.
UK. It's UK and it's not London. Okay, let's just leave it there.
All right, I'm willing to admit that. I love Max Richter. The score is heavy-handed as fuck,
Oh yeah.
but it's the exact sort of music I love.
Yeah.
The movie is about very sad people who want to connect emotionally and can't.
Yep. Well, I mean, that they actually require like a pandemic that is going to be eliminating humanity in order to connect.
And I do find the illness. I mean, they never find a virus or an explanation, so we don't know that it was a pandemic. But I do find the idea of losing senses and having emotional outbursts interesting. I just think this film had no idea what to do with these interesting seeds of ideas.
It actually felt. Who wrote the script? Or is it based on a book or something?
It's just based on a screenplay. It's not based on a book or a play.
Yeah.
Let me look.
Because I think like it reminded me quite a bit of Jose Saramago, and it's like I know that it's like easy because of the how do you say like the essay about blindness, that is like the whole humanity goes blind except one person.
Julianne Moore.
Was that in the movie?
She was the one who kept her sight.
It reminded me of that. It reminded me about like Enemy, in the aspect of all like these are a bit more like impossible to realize things in reality, but I'm going to be using them for portraying human feelings, like basic human feelings. I'm not opposed to that. The problem is like when it's like so heavy-handed and it tries to be like a wall effort and blah blah blah, is like you're too stupid. If you try to do like this a bit of a smaller story, I think that I would have liked it a bit more. And it's not just a small story, but it's like remove all of the epidemiologist bullshit. It's like if that's what you think that epidemiologist is going to be doing, it's like just forget about it because it doesn't add any value. It's something just forcing me to have more suspense on disbelief.
So it's safe to assume you didn't cry at the end.
No,
All right.
I didn't.
Well, for me, this film works.
Okay, that's great, man. That's great. For me, I felt I was watching it in a plane. No, in a plane? No, I was watching. I told you when I was watching it, but I don't remember where.
No, you sent me a text when you went to see our next film.
Okay. Yeah, but I don't remember if I was watching it in Spain while I was like waiting for my plane to take off, and I was like, I can watch it from Spain. It's like I have been like just 3 weeks that I watched this movie. But I just felt a bit as Notes on Scandal.
Just go back to Chicago, man. Okay, well, I'm super curious then to go through the questions with you.
Sure, bring it on.
And I do have to say that my theory about how this experiment would turn out, it turned out exactly how it would.
Okay.
Besides that, maybe I just have a blind spot for Max Richter. Which, after I finished this film, which I watched today,
Yeah.
I immediately listened to the entire soundtrack by itself. So.
Okay, it works. The soundtrack works for you.
All right, so I have the questions up.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Would you watch this again?
No. I didn't hate it, but it's like, I don't think that I will watch it again.
So you did not watch this with your boyfriend?
I didn't. I watched it by myself.
I will absolutely watch this again. Several times. I will probably rent it from Amazon instead of finding the Blu-ray that I own.
That's how much you like it.
But I'm happy to give more money to this film. Would you recommend this?
I don't think so. I mean, I cannot really think about like an environment where I will actually just like tell someone that is the movie that you need to watch. Perfect sense. If they ask me, do you remember any movie with a score from Max Richter? Probably would say, no, I don't, but The Leftovers is amazing.
Interesting.
And then I will be like, oh, wait a second, Professor.
He's actually written a ton of, whenever his scores pop up on Spotify, I'm like, I've never heard of this movie. All right.
Yeah.
I also can't think of a situation where I would be like, I've got the perfect movie for you. It's perfect sense. But I would recommend this movie to anyone. And I wouldn't care if they didn't like it. I don't care that you didn't like it.
It's fine, yeah.
Is there anything artistic about it?
Yes. The music, the cinematography is impeccable.
The cinematography was impeccable, and let me ask you about this one scene.
Oh, is the scene when they're like laying in bed?
When they're naked in bed?
Yeah. I mean, I really like it. Like just she's like just up, and then he's like just completely.
That was really beautiful.
Yeah, like the eye, like just matching her eye, and the mouth is like that's like perfectly located.
So we didn't discuss this, but this film was clearly low budget. Not clearly, it was low budget, and I think they did a fantastic job with it. But they the scenes on the street clearly take place on the same street. And,
in an alley. Yeah.
I completely forgot what I was going to say about the so the scene I wanted to ask you about was when Ewan McGregor said the angry things to Eva Green. Eva Green ran away, and then Eva accepts his phone call, but he's deaf, and she starts to go through the rage, and they just kind of blur everything out, but they focus on the BlackBerry, and then you just see her running around destroying things. I was like, is it brilliant?
It was pretty good. I remember that scene. I felt like, okay.
I mean, super impressed.
That's the thing is, I almost feel like whoever was the cinematographer, like recommending this, he's good. Well, they are good. It's like the rest of the movie, I just feel that I wish that it wasn't like so heavy-handed. Like whoever came up with like, hey, let's do these videos of people all around the world and just like this narration is like, they can just suck a bag of dicks.
I'm sorry. I can accept that maybe that's not great movie, like cinema, but that is exactly what happened during a real pandemic. We had to watch stupid A-list celebrities singing Beatles songs and putting them on Instagram, and we had to watch videos.
You did that. I didn't. You did that. I didn't. I just like walk all around. I enjoy like the outdoors like more than anyone.
Sure, but I'm just saying it's realistic. You may not like that it happened.
No. But it's like people, they were not displaying like people doing this kind of movements or anything. It's like these videos about like people all around the world, like just connecting and food.
Commenting what?
No, just connecting, and just like food and just like those videos. I hated them. Those interludes, when actually was like a very low cost movie, it just infuriated me. It's like, hey, you're only using this for just trying to help the suspension of disbelief of the larger scale of the story. When it's not important that it's larger scale. What is important is like the relationship between these two human beings.
That's fair. I see that.
Yeah.
Is this a timeless piece?
It's a timeless piece of.
So yes, your answer is yes.
I guess
will receive this film the same in 50 years.
Yeah, it's timeless. It's timeless.
Yes,
because it's been more about like just like the idea of two broken individuals that end up like just falling in love through a very terrible time. Sure.
Would you turn this?
It's like a tournament.
I bristle at the comparison. One is a true masterpiece. The other one is atonement. So
Oh, I knew where you were going with that when you started, but it still hurts. Have we ever recorded about a tournament?
No, we should. We should rewatch that. I'll cry then too.
My nipples are getting hard, like just thinking about a tournament, about that soundtrack.
Joe Wright has a new movie that I thought about making you watch. Ooh.
I'm a bit torn about Joe Wright. What was the other
know,
one? That
I am
was
too,
okay.
and I love Atonement.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll pick Anna Karenina.
Okay.
Okay, would you turn this into a TV show?
I can see an HBO limited show that it could maybe work, like 4 episodes only, like 1 hour each, But it's like definitely with the material how it was materialized here, I am afraid that it's going to be a piece of shit because you cannot really stretch it out unless you develop the things a bit more. And like the how do you say, like the satellite characters that you have around, like the secondary characters, are not good. The sister is never developed more than an accessory to her, and it's like the boss in the restaurant and the other chefs are garbage.
And they should have developed that guy that was drinking the olive oil.
Yeah.
Like, that guy was interesting and cool, and I was like,
Yep.
tell me more about that dude.
No, they didn't want to. So I would go with yes, but probably they should give like the script to someone else.
Yeah, I feel like I don't often say yes.
Did you really pre-fill it?
I just copied and pasted, so this is all about Eve, and I'm replacing it.
Alright.
I would actually, I think there are so many good ideas, interesting ideas,
Yeah.
that I would like to see them seen through to a conclusion more satisfactory than this film.
Yeah.
I also think it's risky. There might not be enough there to do a four episode series, but
Yeah.
I would want to watch it, so I say yes as well.
Yep.
Could this have been a short?
Yes.
I really didn't think you would say yes to that. Any comment?
Dude,
Or?
I mean, it's more like you can do like each one of the sentences in 5 minutes. I mean, not in 5 minutes, but you can do it in 10. And you can do this in 40 minutes. It's going to be a bit of a long short, but it's like you can do it because, as we were saying, it's like they didn't develop like the rest of the characters. They can remove all of that. And for portraying broken characters, you don't need 2 hours of a movie that I think there's what lasted.
My answer was no, but you're right. This could have been 45, 50 minutes. I honestly thought, I was like, was this created for like BBC 4? Like, I went and was like, was this originally a made-for-TV movie? I looked it up, it's not.
It's
but
not.
like you
But
get
it
that
could
sense.
have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
could have been a 1 hour special on a Sunday night.
Yep.
In the best way. I mean, not in the best way.
Of course, like from the heart. BBC special from the heart.
Do you think this movie could be better?
Yes. I think that there are like some elements here. They are like brilliant, as I was telling. Cinematography, it's amazing. The soundtrack is pretty good, and it's a
The soundtrack is excellent.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
Pretty good, my ass.
And but the only thing that I feel is that the script feels a bit amateur. It feels a bit more like someone had like a good idea. Because I think that I still like the idea of, hey, let's take like these 2 broken characters and that they would never like find love, and let's bring them together through a very terrible process. I feel like, hey, the idea is good. How it was executed, how when they actually moved from this like pitch, 30-second pitch, to an hour and a half movie, it was not that good.
I agree, and I like so much about the scale of the story, like the way they deal with, like they were like, we're not going to get into the science of the pandemic. We're just going to focus on how it affects these 2. I literally thought they need to get the guy who wrote Weekend and have him come on and do some edits and bring it down to the scale of this weekend in a relationship, and the background is this pandemic.
What was the name of that movie that you really like with Charlotte Gainsbourg? Charlotte Rampling.
Nymphomaniac Volume 2.
Yeah, that
That's-
one.
that's-
Yeah. No, I'm talking about like the senior one, the senior Charlotte.
Charlotte Rampling?
Yeah, Charlotte Rampling. Is that doesn't he?
Bernadetta?
No.
Oh,
no.
45 years.
45 years. I was going to say 45 weeks.
Get the writer of 45 years to
I mean, he
rewrite
was the
script.
director of Wicked.
That's right.
Yeah, I thought that was the reason why you were saying that, but it's that he can do intimate stories like pretty well, and I felt that this would have worked as an indirect love story pretty well. But it's that when you have like all of this bullshit about, like, for example, the relationship with the other like research scientists, there is no point. It's that don't show me anything about them. You're not going to really develop them. Is that I don't
Stop
care.
showing me so many rabbits and monkeys.
Yeah, is that I don't fucking care. There is this point that I almost had the feeling that we're just an epidemiologist, so she actually is about to just eats a rabbit. No,
It's the disease. It's the disease.
but it's so dumb. I just feel it's like, what is the point of this? It's like you're like trying to make this movie larger than it should be. It's like you don't know how to write a script.
I can't disagree with you there. So now I'm super interested to hear your score.
Yeah.
All right, it's already in the spreadsheet. I know my score, but this was my pick, so you have to score first.
My score is a 6.5.
That's my score.
But well, my score is because truly I was impressed by some scenes about like, holy shit, this was good, and also because Ewan McGregor is the most dreamy actor that I've seen in my life.
He's so sexy. He's so sexy.
It's not much, but it's someone that is like, I just see, it's like, oh my god, it's like I just want to sit down, hold hands, and just talk all day long.
When he got really mean to Ava Green, I got an erection. I was like, yes, daddy, yes.
I was a bit more, it's like, look, I will be like just looking at him, and then just like hold him against my chest and says that it's going to be okay.
I won't lie, I rewinded the nude scene several times.
Did you see anything on that scene?
There's one moment where he stands up, but I'm pretty sure it's a fake penis because it's
you can
massive
almost see
and they
it.
hold it long enough to be like, yeah, we can. All right, interesting. I like this movie a lot more than you, but we gave it the same score.
Because I recognize the aesthetically part. You know, it's like I don't regret watching it.
But also, this falls into a category that we mention a lot on the podcast about. Regardless of whether the film succeeded in what it was trying to do or not, this would be, if this were in theaters right now, it would be far more interesting than almost anything else you could see. So it's an interesting experiment. Tell me one film in theaters right now that's more interesting than this, even though I can agree that this film failed. And if you say Barbie, I will literally reschedule your ticket for tomorrow to tonight.
Damn. Okay. Well, sorry, Greta Gerwig. I was going to be like making you a solid, but I guess we're going to have to wait for that. I agree on the idea that it's interesting. I don't think that they succeeded. I think that it's like a cool idea, and it's like I would have liked seeing the Villeneuve from Enemy doing this.
So you see, every time we mention a slightly better film, I'm like, this film should have been better. It could have been better.
It could have been better.
Yeah.
The elements are there, you know. It's like, I honestly think that it's like that idea of just terrible people, broken people. I like those stories, and it's like just like getting them together and just finding happiness with forcing functions. I like that. And it's like, I honestly would have cried if they had removed all of the fat in this movie.
Flour and fat.
Sure. The flour and fat. Eat flour and fat. That's the only thing you need. I found that a bit tiresome, to be honest.
That did annoy me, the fact that they carried it through to like the final. I was like, no, okay, we get it.
Yeah. It's like, you can keep repeating it, but it's not going to change anything. Okay, so this was your pick. So I guess
so
that
what
I
is
have
your
to
pick?
pick next.
Tell me.
So, we're going to be revisiting one director, well, not really revisiting, but it's like as you were saying about like interesting stuff that is like playing out there. I'm not saying if it's interesting or not, I'm just saying that it's playing out there, and that's going to be Oppenheimer. We have talked about Nolan multiple times, so I'm super curious to hear about how we feel about it.
And have we recorded about anything?
The following.
The following.
The following.
Yeah.
So it's like we're going to be like just talking about like we already talked about his first, and we're going to be like talking about his most recent one.
Well, I can't wait to pick Inception.
Sure. I will only say that. Sure. Okay. Anything else to say about Perfect Sense?
Thank you for wading through my own personal brand of melodrama. I really wanted you to experience. Well, now that you've seen Wits and Perfect Sense, you have an insight into my mind.
Wit is way better than this. But it's way more like, like a knife to your gut.
Yeah, Wits in a different league, but they both made me sob, so.
Did Not So Scandal make yourself too?
No, but that aroused me. The whole thing aroused me. I was like, Bill Nye? I want to be married to Bill Nye.
Okay, everyone wants to. Okay, so to everyone out there, thank you so much for putting up with us.
And wash your hands, I guess.
Okay, bye.